Hello, everybody. This is Rob JH1 coming to you live with another edition of megamedia.org, a wrap up or a rather a roundup of political events that are taking place. I don't know if you guys have been watching the news or not, but a lot has transpired. And one of the things that I've noticed is that the left are extremely concerned about Donald Trump conceding the election. They want him to concede this election so bad. It's a constitutional crisis if he doesn't, because Joe Biden won't get any of the information that he needs, apparently, to set up his administration. Now, mind you, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, you're playing dress up. They're playing dress up president and vice president. There's only one president at a time in the United States of America, contrary to what the liberal media says, or even the right-wing media. There's only one president. We don't get to elect president until December. So although the media has Joe Biden as their president, only has one president, and it's Donald John Trump. So don't believe the hype. Don't freak out. Only one president. And that being said, thank you for joining us tonight. My guest tonight, my moderator, of course, is Small Town Andrew. My other guest is BB Diamond and attorney Manny Alicandro. Thank you guys for joining us. How's it going out there?
It's going great, Rob. Having a great night so far. How are you guys doing?
It's great. I'm doing great.
Excellent.
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So my opening statement about there's only one president at a time. What is your take on that? Because definitely the media is pushing a president, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. What are you guys' thoughts? Manny, what do you say? You've been out there. You've been in the field. Tell us something good, man. What's happening? Go ahead, BB.
Go ahead, BB.
Well, okay, thank you. Sorry. First of all, there is no office of elect. It is different this time as opposed to call him president-elect, although there is no official president-elect until the electoral. In this case, in 2020, Trump credible legal challenges, and it's up to the electoral college to certify. Manny, please correct me. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And so certified, then the person, or the gentleman who gets 270 after the votes have been certified, is the president. At this time, there is no fact. There are too many voter irregularities, other things going on, statistical impossibilities in terms of the mistakes, the found ballots, all of that. So there is no president-elect. There's nothing in the U.S. Constitution that says the United States the press corps can designate who the president-elect is, and they can keep title and try to make us buy it, but it's not going to work. Joe Biden is not the president-elect. No one is at this time. We have one president, President Trump, period. Thank you.
Manny?
Hey, look, I'm really excited. Rudy Giuliani has effectively come out of retirement, and he actually got admitted in Pennsylvania, pro hoc vici, to actually be the lawyer for the president and argue in court. So I'm super psyched. This is the first time that Rudy's actually been on a case since 1992. Okay, so Rudy doesn't lose. Rudy doesn't lose. When Rudy gets on a matter, he wins. He plays to win. That's
wow.
The first thing. Second thing is Sidney Powell. Sidney Powell, General Flynn's attorney. It's a tremendous attorney as well. She doesn't play to lose. She said she's going to release the Kraken. It's coming, right? They have information. They have verifiable evidence that the media has been talking about, clamoring to hear. There are whistleblowers. There are people who know about Dominion. There are people who know about this software, and they're going to come forward. So there's no way that Rudy and Sidney Powell would embarrass themselves moving forward with frivolous cases in terms of ruining their reputations. And Lynn Wood is the attorney for Nick Sandman, and got this young man a settlement in the tens of millions, if not $100 million, from CNN.
Mhm.
And Lynn Wood filed in Georgia the other day. So again, these three superstar attorneys, let alone there's other attorneys in the whole ecosystem here, but they would not put their professional reputations on the line. If you watch any TV shows over the last couple of days, Rudy is on 3, 4, 5 times a day, as is Sidney Powell. And if you follow Twitter, constantly on Twitter, Lynn Wood is on Twitter nonstop. And again, these individuals have reputations that are stellar, and these reputations will exist and continue. Hopefully President Trump will win. But if, God forbid, he doesn't, these people have careers and they don't want to be embarrassed. So why would they take these matters on? These cases are not over. Nothing is done. Let the legal proceedings move forward the way they need to move forward. But Rudy's on this. So I think we should all feel comfortable that Rudy literally is not just running the legal efforts from Trump because Bossie has COVID, and David Bossie was running it, and now Rudy's kind of running all the legal efforts, right? He's quarterbacking the entire legal team and all the different jurisdictions of different states. He actually is arguing in Pennsylvania, which is amazing. So if Rudy's on it, Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood, and others, we have to rest assured and be comfortable that good things are going to come to us. We just have to be patient. This is a dogfight. This is a scrap. This is a scrap. This is, put your cup and your mouthpiece in and let's get going here, because it's going to get ugly and there's brass knuckles and whatever it takes. So this is not easy. The attorneys, Porter Wright, who were working with the team in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia in particular, they're a Pittsburgh-based firm. They withdrew because they got doxxed by the Lincoln Project. Okay, that's how ugly. That's how ugly this is getting. Okay, so you can't even be an attorney right now, okay, and represent the president without being doxxed as if you're representing Weinstein.
Right.
Okay, I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. This is about the integrity of our elections. This is about transparency in our elections, even beyond Trump and beyond Biden. This is about the future. This is about our country. It's about our democracy.
Yep.
So there's nothing to do with Trump or Biden. It has to do with the integrity or lack thereof of our elections. So I just want this to play out, and I'm optimistic and I remain positive that we're going to have a good outcome.
But these people, the swamp, and they have made themselves known. They don't want this to continue. For the Lincoln Project to dox people of Davis Polk, the president's lawyers, and for them to withdraw their names, I was shocked when I heard about this. I'm like, these are supposed to be attorneys. Everyone is entitled to representation. But they ran with their legs, with their tail between their legs. They're attorneys, they're powerful attorneys, and you're going to kowtow, or you're going to, it's just unfathomable to think that they allow this group to pressure them into walking away. And the media, they are full throttle. Did you guys see the press conference yesterday with Joe Biden? And these seemingly journalists asking him, well, because the president won't concede, well, because he's being like this, because he's being like uncouth, because of this. I'm thinking, are you serious? Why aren't you guys asking your so-called president elect what he's going to do about COVID, what he's going to do about China? What is he going to do about North Korea? What is he going to do about race relations? But everything was on the president is bad. He won't concede to you. And what are you going to do? And what about this? And what about that? Is this what we have to look forward to if Joe Biden is successful in stealing this election? Again, 3.5 years, no evidence, no proof of Russia collusion, but every other night, every newscast, every hour, Trump colluded with the Russians and we have evidence. Where's the evidence? Oh, there's no evidence. Don't worry about it, but he did it. He did it. Oh, and this came out, and he did this, and he did that. And now, and we've got to throw in, Russia was meddling with the election.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's what I want people to focus on.
Yes.
Okay? The media wants us to focus on this false narrative of outside pressures coming in, right? Outside foreign actors, Russia, China, whatever, coming in to penetrate our electoral process, coming in from a cyber security attack.
Right.
That did not happen. This, my friends, is not an outside in. This is an inside out.
Wow.
This is an inside job.
Mm-hmm.
This is not somebody hacked our software where ballots, thousands of ballots, maybe millions of ballots were scanned in with no signature verification. We are giving the Russians too much credit. That was somebody internal who programmed the software to not recognize the signature. So this false narrative about the outside in is garbage. It's the inside out. This is an inside job. This is an inside heist. That's what we should keep saying, all of us, over and over again. This is an inside job. The people who know how these systems work, the people who are around the software, the people who program the sensitivity of the signature recognition, they're the ones who pull this off.
Yep.
Not Russia, not some foreign actor. That is complete bunk. Of course, it was a secure election, secure from foreign actors, but not secure from insiders. This is an act of domestic terrorism.
Wow.
We have Americans on American soil directly impacting our election, and we need to call it out and call them out. That's what this is. We should have congressional investigations. I want President Trump, regardless of what happens, and I remain optimistic, to get a special independent prosecutor on this. We had Mueller for the Nothing Burger, the Mueller report, the Nothing Burger, $50 million. I want a special prosecutor assigned to look into this.
Right.
Yeah.
And get that special prosecutor right away. Once we know how this election's resolved, Trump wins, great. Get the special prosecutor. God forbid Biden wins, still get that special prosecutor, fund that special prosecutor, and away we go. We need to stop this right now.
Manny, I've been interested in asking you this question. Sidney Powell's went on record with that Dominion. It looks like it's the best path to victory for President Trump. Hundreds of thousands of votes were possibly changed through this system. Would you have went public with the information like Sidney Powell that this is what they're going to focus on, or do you think she should have held it closer to the vest until they go to court?
No, I mean, I think she had no choice, right? Because her credibility, as I mentioned earlier, is at stake. Because she's going on these shows, and the mainstream media is like, "Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?" So she had to come out with what she has. She didn't name anybody yet. She didn't describe in detail the evidence, but she has to talk it up to the extent where there's more belief from the media and everybody else that there's legitimacy to these claims. Right. You got to understand, when you file in court and you're a lawyer, right? So you have a plaintiff moves an action, commences an action in federal court. Okay. The plaintiff and the lawyer cannot file a frivolous action. You could be sanctioned. There's a federal rule, Rule 11. You can be sanctioned. You as the lawyer and the plaintiff for filing a frivolous action. None of these actions that the president's filed come near frivolous. They're legitimate claims. And there's evidence, but the evidence isn't provided to George Stephanopoulos, or the evidence isn't provided to Chuck Todd. Why should they be? Right. The evidence is provided to a court, to a judge, to potentially a jury. But again, no lawyer is going to file a frivolous motion just to kind of waste time, because that lawyer could be sanctioned, and then that is on that lawyer's record going forward, let alone payment of legal fees by the other side. So there is a benchmark here. Okay, there is a mark where lawyers aren't going to take on cases that have absolutely zero credibility. You just can't do that. I mean, lawyers have done it in the past, and they paid the consequences. No high-level attorney is going to waste his time or her time. So Sidney Powell has to play this game right now in terms of going forward, going on these shows, saying things to move the ball forward, because otherwise many people are just going to lose faith in the process because they're not giving it the requisite time it needs to play out. I mean, these cases are being fast tracked. Litigation doesn't move this fast. Some litigation's in courts for months, if not years. Right? This stuff's being super fast tracked because the certifications are pending in the states. But yeah, Sidney Powell had to say what she said, and she's on a bunch of shows. She's on like Lou Dobbs a lot, and now I've seen him on Newsmax and Maria Bartiromo. She's got to keep it going. We have to make sure that the base keeps going on here. Keep support. The base keeps fighting the fight. Our base keeps supporting our efforts. And both with moral support and also financially in terms of the defense fund for the president.
It is interesting, like you said. I mean, the media is trying to get us to think that they're just filing frivolous claims. There's no truth to this, and the way they attack Giuliani, as if though he's like some wow man out there.
He's crazy. He's some crazy old guy.
Yeah.
BB's going to come right back.
BB, what is your take on it?
BB's going to come right back. She's switching to her computer to see if she gets better audio quality on there.
Okay.
But yeah,
what do you
absolutely agree with Manny. I think that, like Manny was saying, you've got to keep things in the news to keep the support and the positivity up. If you guys just listen to mainstream media all day, you're just going to hear the negativity and think that President Trump's completely out of this thing, when really it couldn't be further from the truth with what we're hearing about this Dominion system, if it's even close to being accurate with the reports we're hearing.
Yeah, and it seems to be not a good system at all, a system that was designed to do apparently what it did in this instance, to flip votes. And I wait patiently, or rather impatiently, for all of this to be seen.
Look, and at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot riding on this. Okay, so reputationally, these lawyers, as I mentioned, the credibility of our elections, that we're not laughed at, throughout the world. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that the UN gets involved in, right? With like fraudulent elections. Okay, there was a lot of shenanigans in these elections, in this election, in every state. Unfortunately, many times in different states, and a lot of times when these cases are put forth, they're not really like one of these TV shows you watch that are very kind of, the whole thing is resolved in the 46 minutes of the TV show, including commercials. Right. Things are kind of uneven how the case is filed. When plaintiffs, when plaintiffs are involved, you have plaintiffs join, you have affidavits. I mean, there's been hundreds of affidavits of individuals who are witnesses, and they're providing testimony, direct testimony in terms of they were there, they've seen things, they were involved in what's going on. Right. So they that's the best kind of evidence, is someone who knows what happened. I don't know what people expect to see in terms of evidence. I mean, think about this, okay? More people voted by mail in this election than voted in person. Just think about that. So other cases that we see in election law, and I've worked on a couple of them, they're about a couple of votes. In the year 2000 in Florida, that was about 537 votes. And you could see them. There were military ballots as well, absentee ballots, but very few. But it was a hanging chad. You could actually hold the ballot up and see it. Was there a dimple? Was it what did the pinprick go through the paper?
Yep.
Right. But what are we talking about here? Millions of ballots that came in with a postmark on an envelope, and allegedly the envelope, which would show when these ballots came in, or the envelopes are gone. They've been discarded. This chain of custody has been destroyed in many states, in particular in Pennsylvania. So if those ballots have been scanned in, and the envelope in which they came is the only proof of the timeliness, forget about the signature and the date on the ballot. I wanted, because they could be backdated. You could have signed it and dated it by November 3rd, but mailed it November 4th or 5th. True. Those envelopes, which would be the best evidence, are gone. How is that the fault of the president? That is the inside job, my friends. That's what I'm talking about. How could all of the envelopes be discarded? Every worker must have gotten the memo who opened an envelope or envelopes. In Pennsylvania, there's two envelopes. There's an inner envelope for the secret ballot and an outer envelope. And technically, under Pennsylvania law, if there are not two envelopes, the ballot should be discarded. But if the envelopes are chucked and destroyed and thrown out, where's the evidence? We're going to be blamed for that? That the people on the inside destroyed the evidence and I could prove the ballot came in late? All that happened was the envelopes are discarded. The people who work at the poll site just kept scanning in those ballots. And then the people who were supposed to observe under law, Pennsylvania state law, they were 20, 30, 40 feet away. They had to have binoculars to watch. So they couldn't look on dates when the envelopes were open. Now those ballots are scanned in. How are we supposed to prove that they came in late? Well, we would have the envelopes. That'd be easy to prove, right? But everybody made the same mistake. Everybody who worked on opening the envelopes made the same mistake of discarding the envelopes. Like that's a mistake that you would expect those people to make. Like the envelopes wouldn't be important. Are you kidding me? How could that be accidental? Right. There's no way. That had to be coordinated to destroy the envelopes or lose the envelopes. And then the ballots are scanned in and they're dated whenever, and therefore they're counted. And you can't undo those ballots that were scanned in because those envelopes are gone. How is that an accident? And that is at issue in this case. And that is an issue in many jurisdictions where we have no controls over the ballots that were scanned in because we have no controls over the envelopes. And it should have been maintained under state law for like 22 or 24 months, depending on the state. It's a chain of custody issue. Envelopes are gone. Where are they? People should be criminally prosecuted if they destroyed the envelopes. And there should be video. There should be video, surveillance video. Where are those tapes? There's evidence right there. Yep. But nobody's talking about this. Stephanopoulos, nobody in MSNBC, Chris Cuomo. No one's talking about where the envelopes are. They don't want to go there. That'd be a good way to discard tens of thousands of ballots. Just chuck them out.
Right.
No problem.
Right. And what I don't understand, as I said before, is that you have all these guys on the left and the right, both sides, because on Sunday we saw Leland Beadler. I mean, he was like going at it with a Trump communications director. Actually, there's no evidence. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what is happening to these people? What the heck is happening? Back in 2016, I mean, no one was pressing the issue with, well, where's the evidence? How do you know this? They were just taking it at face value. A lot of these reporters, a lot of these journalists were behaving as if though Trump colluded, knowing that there was nothing there. There was no evidence.
This is a unique situation, as I mentioned. The way that judges deal with this stuff in the past, how they've dealt with it, and the way they deal with it now is, like I said, they go vote by vote. Okay, where people voted in person, there's issues with people fraudulently signing in. There's ballots, a small number of ballots that are at issue. This is a unique situation where 100 million people voted by mail and they were scanned in, and there's a reliance upon technology with regard to signature verification and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a challenge to prove, which is no fault of the Trump campaign nor Trump's lawyers. It's a challenge to prove to judges who are used to handling election law matters in a certain way, where there's maybe hundreds of votes at issue, not thousands of votes. That's nobody's fault. This is a unique situation, and a unique situation involves a unique approach, and that's what we're doing. The media is applying an old rubric. When they say year 2000 was 537 votes at issue. I wish there were only 537 votes at issue. I wish that was the case, but it's not. It doesn't mean we don't have a case, and it doesn't mean we give up, and it doesn't mean that we're going to argue the case today the same way we did in the year 2000. It's a different case. And as things evolve, we'll see the facts, and we'll see the truth, and we'll see the evidence. But it's there. There is something there. There's a lot there, and people just need to be patient. And who cares what the mainstream media says?
Yeah, well said. Well said, Manny. Changing gears just a little bit for a second. Did you guys see this new fake hate crime that happened in New York State, Buffalo? This kid painted Trump 2020 and the N-word and all kinds of racial slurs all over his car, and he claimed it was a hate crime. But after an investigation, they found out it was actually him who did this himself. So looks like he pulled a Jussie Smollett or a Bubba Wallace. Did you guys see this story?
I didn't see it. I'm not at all surprised because of the past couple of, I would say 3.5 years, all the hate crimes that they have attributed to Trump and Trump supporters have been unfounded. I would say of the 100 cases, 99.1 weren't true. It was the victims who were, doing it to themselves. And it's really sad because when you have situations like this, no one wants to report on, okay, we did the investigation rather, and it wasn't true. But when it happens, it's all over the front page as if though this actually took place. It's sad. It's really sad. Look at what happened on, I think it was Sunday with the MAGA rally. And after the rally went off without a hitch, it was peaceful. And then later that night, you had Antifa, Black Lives Matter attacking Trump supporters, viciously attacking them. The media reporting on it? Not at all. Oh, nothing to see here. But there were people who were being attacked, and it's sad. I can't believe that this is America, whereby you can't say who you support out of fear that someone will attack you, or you can lose your job, or you can lose your status. It's ridiculous. And this is a man that we want as president, Joe Biden, who can't come out and denounce this. Even Obama, who's out there trying to peddle a book. And by the way, I heard that the book is not doing so great. He's yet to say anything. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't condemned any of the actions. It's sad.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I heard about the story earlier, and I mean, let's talk it through for a second, right? I take the L train in New York from Manhattan to Brooklyn, and Rob knows what I'm talking about. The L train goes through Bushwick and Williamsburg, a lot of hipsters, huge Bernie fans. Let's say I tell a story that I take the L train and I'm wearing a Bernie hat and I get attacked. No one would believe me, right? Because nobody gets attacked for wearing a Bernie hat. Right. So, it's unlikely that would happen and no one would ever make up that story. But it makes a lot of sense if I should wear on that same train going from Manhattan into Brooklyn, the L train, Hipsterville, wearing a MAGA hat, I would be physically accosted. Even if I wasn't, I can make up that story. People would easily believe that. And I'd get sympathy. I mean, it's a good way to get fake news if you want. I mean, literally, bruise yourself, put some makeup on and say, I got jacked. There's no video, whatever on the train. And people would 100% believe you. And it's tragic that people view the MAGA hat in the way they do. And there's this crazy violence around these Trump events where people at the Trump events get attacked, and that million MAGA march. I mean, that violence was unbelievable. Man, I couldn't believe what I saw. And Rob's absolutely right. No one in the mainstream media covered it at all. And the only way I followed it because on Twitter and social media, and there was some really ugly fights, and like families got attacked with young children. Some elderly people got attacked. I mean, it was crazy. But yeah, I think the media loves, anything anti-Trump. The media will run with it. The media won't show people supporting Trump who are attacked unfairly. That the media is very reluctant again because they don't want to show any demonstration of anything sympathetic to Trump. I actually read a tweet today from Charlie Gasparino, who's a tremendous reporter for the New York Post, and he's on Fox Business. He's a great reporter. He tweeted something, and I'm not sure if he wrote an article about it or an article will come out about Harvard doxing people who worked in a Trump administration. That the students at Harvard said no one who worked in a Trump administration is allowed to come to campus to give a speech. They're already boycotting people who were in the Trump administration who are pretty well-known people, which, you know, they go on these college tours and they speak.
Really?
Not at Harvard. They've already been doxxed, and the students will protest and shut them down. So already universities like, nope, no one affiliated with Trump at all is allowed to come to Harvard. How crazy is that? How crazy is that?
Yeah, I'd
Completely crazy.
like to say I'm surprised, but we've seen these commies in the college system do this for years. Out in Berkeley, they throw riots every time they'd have like someone like Ann Coulter or Ben Shapiro out to speak. BB, can you hear us now? Okay, we cannot hear BB, so
Well, I just want to
hopefully-
add to something that you said, Andrew, is that as far as the colleges and universities, it's really sad because colleges and universities are supposed to be some, places of free speech, bastions of free speech. You know, it's protected. But as of lately, they want to shut everything down. Where does it stop? Where does it end? What is the end goal? Are these people even looking at what's happening? What they claim they don't want, they are doing exactly that.
You're
Quiet as
absolutely
it's
right.
kept.
And I'll tell you what's going to be worse is if, God forbid, Biden is president, there is going to be a bailout with regard to student debt led by Elizabeth Warren. And that is just going to empower these colleges even more because people were reluctant, particularly COVID. COVID has shown that going to class is kind of a waste of time, that all the money these colleges are charging you for crazy tuition, these elite universities, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a year, to hear these professors, liberal professors, woke professors pontificate,
Right.
right? And you can't disagree with them because then you get doxxed in your class, only getting a bad grade, but students don't want to be next to you. Okay. COVID has shown it's a big waste of time. You just watch videos, watch class online, whatever. So college has been on the downtrend in terms of people wanting to go to college and expensive colleges. More people want to go to state universities and local colleges and get a fine degree from those colleges and universities. And the biggest problem is the students that want to get saddled with the debt. Now there's going to be this bailout.
I saw that today.
I mean, it's over. These colleges are going to get, they'll be able to pay their professors, these tenured professors, even more money. And the cost of going to the college isn't going to be as much of a deterrent anymore. It's just going to empower them even more. It's sad.
Yeah, it's like, how are they going to compensate people that had to work for a living and could not afford to go to college when they pay this $50,000 off of people's students' debt? It's just not fair. And not only that, also people like Manny, who's worked his ass off to pay off his student debt.
Yep.
It's just going to be taken care of for so many.
Yeah, could I get an IOU? Could I get an IOU?
Yeah,
could I just
right.
give me the money that I paid off already because I busted my ass to pay it off? How fair is that?
Well, to me, it's almost akin to when you look at reparations. Okay, because we taxpayers are going to have to pay off this debt ourselves. So when you think about it, you're now asking us to pay off a debt for someone we had nothing to do. We had nothing to do with them getting that debt. We didn't tell them to go and get the debt. We didn't tell them to go to these liberal colleges and rack up all this money. So now my taxpayer dollars, because someone has to pay for it. Nothing is free. And they're going to come to me and, oh, you got to pay for it. Like, really?
Bailing out these professors. That's what we're doing, right? We're essentially paying the mortgage for these woke professors who have, summer homes and they have, 2 vacation homes and multiple cars. We're paying for their bad habits.
Yep.
Okay. Because we're bailing them out, because now when universities are starving, right, they're going to have to make tough choices, maybe lay people off, maybe take away tenure from some professors, maybe get rid of some, kind of majors that aren't necessarily needed in this world that we're in right now. Suffice it to say, okay. And bailing them out is just empowering them. It's like bailing out New York City, right? Bail out New York City, and New York City will just continue to waste money and hemorrhage money and mismanage, and there'll be, graft and corruption, and there'll be no improvement. Just bailout. So this student loan stuff is effectively a bailout for students who made poor decisions and who were irresponsible, and their parents are irresponsible. Okay, I saw this speech by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel spoke at the 2016 Democratic Convention. He's behind a successful company that IPO'd a couple of months ago, Palantir, but he's also the founder of PayPal. Okay, so he's a tremendously successful
Yep.
guy. He's gay and he's a conservative. Genius guy. He went to Stanford Law and everything. He likens colleges to the old Studio 54. Now I'm probably dating myself with a lot of young people, but there was an elite club in New York called Studio 54, and Andy Warhol would go there, and all these celebrities. People would do anything to get in because only successful people, Mick Jagger used to go there. They would do anything to get in. They would pay the doorman, they would bribe the doorman, give drugs to the doorman, whatever, to get into that club because they wanted to be in that place.
Right.
People will do anything to get their kids into college, like Lori Loughlin, right? Just bribe people because they want that brand name, knowing that it's effectively useless, but it's like a club. And Peter Thiel gave us a great example. He said if he met the director of admissions for Stanford, right, and the director said, "Look, I want to double enrollment, right? I want twice the number of students to come to Stanford." And I want to accept minority students. I want to accept diverse students. He said he guarantees the Alumni Association of Stanford would be pissed off because it would dilute the brand. You want this exclusivity. You don't want more people to come to Stanford. You want the least amount of people accepted as possible. So now your degree, your piece of paper is worth more. That's what this is. It's not about education or anything like that. Nobody cares. It's about this exclusivity. And these schools know it, and they know people are willing to pay for it. And now we're going to pay for it as taxpayers. That's tragic.
Yeah, well said, Manny. The left and the Democrats keep telling us that they believe in science. Well, 6 months ago, they told us 2 million people would be dead by now. 30 years ago, they said all the poles would be melted and our world would be in shambles by now. They were wrong on that. Why would anyone believe them now? We see this new hysteria over the COVID, see governors locking down all over the country. It seems like all together at the same time. It's a coordinated effort to see how much they can get away with and how many sheep are going to abide by them. What do you guys make of the latest COVID lockdowns that we're seeing sweep across the country?
I think it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Lockdowns does absolutely nothing but destroy businesses and destroy lives. Simple as that. Plain and simple.
Yeah, no, it's crazy now with the governor of New York talking about not having more than 10 people. That's just arbitrary and capricious. Where does 10 come from? Why isn't it 11? Why isn't it 8? Why is it 9 people? I mean, it's so stupid. I read something about whether it was Illinois or whatever state, saying you have to wear a mask in a car. Maybe it was Nebraska. I don't know. It's all a blur right now. But you can imagine you see these people driving in a car by themselves with a mask on. I mean, and again, where's the confirmation that a mask is effective in protecting me or protecting you from me if I'm sick? It's completely batshit crazy here. Okay. And at the end of the day, right, we've given too much power to these governors and these mayors who really don't know anything. I mean, honestly, what have we learned since March? Nothing. Be socially distant and wear masks, and everything is completely all over the place. You watch the NFL, and I know people don't like the NFL, but if you watch NFL, some stadiums have people in the stands, others don't. Is it more contagious in Arizona than it is in Foxborough in Massachusetts? It's like none of it makes any sense. And the weirdest thing I've seen too is now New York City, because they're not allowing indoor dining without severe restriction, like 25% capacity, and you have to have these like vents and stuff like that. They're building these tents outside of the restaurants in the street. But what's the difference between being inside in a restaurant or being inside in a tent? It makes no sense to me. But they're building these tents outside, literally on the curb and in the street in New York City. They're claiming it's safer for COVID, but people are in the tent. And then you go into the restaurant with your mask on, and then you sit and you take your mask off, and you're talking to people, and you're probably spitting, and you're drinking, and you're eating.
Proven to be
and,
too
and,
much.
and how are you not contagious? Then you put the mask back on. If you
to try
have
to
to go to the
solve all
bathroom or
this, I
something,
need
it's crazy.
Yep, I agree. I agree. I mean, the funny thing is, wearing a mask when you're driving in a car.
by yourself. I mean, that's why I love these reporters who are completely socially distanced, and there's a camera person, or they set up the camera by themselves, and they hit record, and they have the mask on, and I can't understand anything. They sound like Joe Biden with marbles in their mouth. You know, I don't even know what. Like, I can't understand a word they're saying. Why the hell are you wearing a mask? You're on TV. I can't read your lips or see your mouth moving. Well, we want to set an example to wear a mask. No, you don't need to wear a mask when you're nobody around you. It's completely nuts.
Well, here's the funny
and it's going to
thing.
get worse.
Right. Well, here, this is what I find funny. When I see people who are taking pictures and they have a mask on, I'm like, what the heck is this? Pull the mask down. You're not talking. But they're sitting there and they're actually smiling behind the mask. It's like, we don't see your smile.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 5 years from now, people are going to go back, look through their Instagram, and they're going to see pictures of people with masks on, posing. It's like, are you serious?
You know what's weird too? You see these doctors and you see these nurses who are literally, saving lives, and thank you to them for what they're doing. But not only do they have masks, they have visors. I mean, they've got like heavy duty equipment. Okay, so why am I bringing that up? Maybe that's what we need if we truly want to protect each other from the disease and the spread of the disease. Maybe that's the kind of shit we need to wear, not like a 20-cent mask that I buy in CVS or something. I mean, that's really protecting you and me. So the people who actually can, in a situation where they can get it, they're in emergency rooms at hospitals where people are intubated that have COVID. They're not wearing a 29-cent mask or whatever like that. They have like protective gear and gloves, visors, and all that stuff. Maybe that's what's needed. And I'm not saying I want to wear that, but how do you compare that to me wearing a mask when I'm driving a car by myself? There's no comparison. It's completely stupid.
Yeah, I thought it was bad enough when they were trying to tell us that we had to wear a mask to work out outside. I went to Portland back in August, and people were literally, before you'd go on the trail, there's a sign that says you have to wear a mask on this trail, and you're outdoors hiking. It just makes absolutely no sense. And then I just seen that report today that I forget which governor it is, but they want people to wear a mask indoors now if they have company over. At their own home. It's just like, how are they going to enforce this crap?
What about people who live in a home in a lot of urban centers in the United States that is multi-generational? Right. There might be more than 5 or 6 or 10 people that they live with, but you can't have a turkey. You add a turkey to that equation, and then the police come knocking on the door. Sorry, we're busting this up here. It's illegal.
Okay, and here's the other thing. Some of the governors and mayors are telling people, and if you see someone who has more than 10 people, you call us and let us know. So you will actually have people peering outside of their window. Let me see if they have any. They've got 10. They've got 12. Call the mayor. Call the police.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I was the police. I would say, forget. Are you serious?
You're going to have like a clicker, when you go to this place and they count the number of people. You're going to like 8, 9. Oh, here we go. Here's 10. They're going to call like the 911 or something after.
Right. You got to take your plate, eat, and get out, or take a plate to go. Hi, how are you? Okay.
Well, you got to get tested before you have stuffing. But wait a minute. This is crazy. I could take the subway, right? Or how about this? We could all go on a flight tomorrow to LA.
Yeah.
Right? And be on a flight for 6 hours. And there's people sitting in the middle seat right now. I don't care what kind of air filtration system, and I'm wearing a mask, but that's safe.
Yeah.
That's not a problem, right? Oh, well, because it would crush the airline industry. Well, what about crushing the turkey industry? What about crushing the people who make all the food for Thanksgiving, Butterball and stuff? We don't care about bankrupting them, that people won't be able to eat a turkey. It is the dumbest thing in the world.
Oh,
it is completely silly. This mask thing is one of the weirdest things. And now this vaccine thing is crazy. I read something the other day that Ticketmaster, right, because they've been destroyed with all the concerts, because all the concerts have been canceled. They're going to require on their app that you received the COVID vaccine. People are going to be forced to get vaccinated to go to a goddamn concert. How crazy is this? First of all, we don't even know if the vaccine's going to be that effective, right? Number one, you want to go to a concert, you got to show them your papers that you got vaccinated. I mean, let alone the kids in schools are all going to have to be vaccinated. I mean, this is crazy in terms of forcing people to get a vaccine. And I don't want to be one of the first people to take a vaccine. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be one of those guys to get that that needle jammed in my arm without that vaccine being verified. Sorry.
Yet, no, I agree. So when Dr. Fauci came out, Dr. Fauci saying, "Oh, we need a vaccine, we need a vaccine." Now there's like, "Oh, well, the vaccine won't do it. We need something else." It will never end.
Let him take it.
Yeah.
Let Fauci take it. Let all those
Yep.
dudes take it. And I want to see how they react to it. Let them and their families. I want to watch them inject their families with it.
Mm.
You know, but it's crazy. This whole thing is just spun out of control. And now you have lockdowns now in Europe. Don't forget. I mean, the UK. There's like people protesting in the UK right now. I mean, England is in a lot of trouble because you're going to see the second and third wave right now. Why? Because people are getting the flu, and they're confusing the flu with COVID because the flu and COVID have the same symptoms. And the Surgeon General said the way that you differentiate is if you lose your sense of smell or taste. That's COVID, not with the flu. But not everybody gets that with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's going to panic and think they have COVID because they have the flu. So then it's just going to shut stuff down, lock stuff down, and it's going to kill our economy. It's going to crush our economy because we can't live like this forever.
No, we can't. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, Joe Biden, he's already pretending that he's president of the United States. I don't know if you guys noticed by like his Twitter feed, and he's doing these like press conferences and stuff, but the media has yet to hold him accountable like he's president of the United States. I know that's for sure. Did you guys see the softball questions he got at his press conference? It was like 11 questions, and they were all so weak. It's like, when are they going to hold any Democrat to the standard that they held Donald Trump to? I don't think we'll ever see that again. Just what did you guys make of how the media continues to protect Joe Biden?
I mean, it's a joke, right? They're giving him a pass. I mean, did you see the article that was initially, I guess, in a post and then other outlets that Joe Biden started this cancer charity, and it did zero research in cancer? Mm-hmm. Now, why are we getting that report after the election? Is this new information? They just figured it out? I mean, this is an old story that the media clearly withheld, because that would have hurt him if that was released on November 1st and November 2nd, the weekend before the election, right? Don't you think? Right. So the media not only is giving them a free pass, they're withholding the release of news. What about Pfizer? That they have the vaccine that's 90% effective. They waited till after the election to release that information. What about Eli Lilly, who has the cocktail for COVID? They also waited. So there's this cooperation amongst the media now with companies that we gave millions, if not billions of dollars to with this Operation Warp Speed to develop the vaccine and to do R&D, research and development, that are completely working with the Biden team. Okay. And have been, because they're withholding the release of information and news that would have been positive for President Trump, because it would have helped people with regard to people voting for him potentially, because he said what he was going to do and he did what he said he was going to do, which is get this vaccine, you know, in record time, which he did. But again, that information's released after the election, so it didn't impact the election. That is purely intentional.
Absolutely. I agree.
Let's see here. Manny, we'll circle back to the election now. Michigan looks like it's one of the key states to me that President Trump has got to take back. We see the huge ballot dump of over 130,000 ballots. What are your final thoughts here on tonight's show about the Dominion lawsuit that Sidney Powell's talked about? Do you think that's 100% the Trump campaign's best route?
I think that's one of the best routes. I think the fact that there were not monitors and observers allowed in a lot of states, is clearly still on the table. I know Pennsylvania, we had a ruling that went against us with that. I don't think we should give up, because we should go to the Supreme Court with it potentially. I think the real issue, there's just two big issues here. One clearly is Dominion with these votes being changed. But I think another issue, which I really want to see move forward, and I haven't heard a lot of, but clearly it's there, again, is when these ballots are scanned in, were there signature verifications based upon the software, and how sensitive was that analysis in terms of, when you sign something, as you get older, sometimes your signature changes. And if you
Yeah.
registered to vote 10 years ago, maybe your signature is different today than it was 10 years ago. But the point is, if there's fraud, there's fraud. You could see a big diff in signatures. Was a signature verification done? And if it was done, to what level of sensitivity? That is a huge issue right there, because that's programmed by the companies like Dominion and the people around that company. And the people at the Board of
Mhm.
Elections are instrumental in determining its sensitivity. That is a good way of changing thousands of votes potentially, because the ballots that were scanned in could be rescanned in if you change the sensitivity of those ballots and you prove, okay, they came in one way with zero sensitivity, no signature check, and the calibration has changed, rescan them in, see the difference. That's a really compelling argument. We have to
Right.
think in terms of big numbers here. Okay, so the poll watcher, that's hard to do. I think that's why that case of Pennsylvania wasn't very successful, because the argument was poll watchers weren't allowed to really do their jobs over a certain period of time, and during that period of time, X number, of ballots were scanned in. So we want those ballots to not count. It's very difficult. You have to put yourself in a seat of a judge. It's very difficult for a judge to say, yeah, invalidate all those ballots, because you could imagine the pressure on a judge to not want to disenfranchise those voters, because it's not the fault of those voters that those ballots were scanned in and the election officials didn't allow poll watchers. So that's the kind of analysis. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's the kind of thinking where the judges don't want to exclude ballots.
Yep.
If the voters didn't make a mistake. There's a distinction between me screwing up and mailing a ballot in late, or me screwing up and not signing a ballot, or me screwing up and not filling out a ballot correctly, or me doing everything I need to do appropriately and someone at the Board of Elections screws up. Why should that voter, their vote, be disenfranchised and not count? So that's the analysis. I think the real way of attacking this is clearly Dominion. If those votes were switched between Biden and Trump, or Trump and Biden, and the signature verification, I think those are key. And I think if we're successful with those, we're in good shape here. Again, the focus is to get Biden below 270, not to get Trump over 270. We need to start chipping away at Biden, get him below 270, and then we're in an interesting situation.
I agree.
Yeah, from the sounds of it, I think Biden's at 308. I think if you could somehow flip Pennsylvania, and then I think Michigan or Georgia would have to be the other one that you would need. And I believe that would be all that it takes to get Biden below 270, like Manny's been talking about. So, yeah, Pennsylvania, it looks like it's where everything is focused on, just like we were talked about for weeks before the election. Everything's going to happen in Pennsylvania, and it looks like we are still waiting on finding out what's going to end up happening in Pennsylvania, because the Trump campaign seems very confident that they have a lot of evidence in Pennsylvania. One more topic for tonight. Did you guys catch any of the social media conference today on the Hill?
Yes,
Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey called in for a bit and basically denied that they're censoring conservatives.
Right.
Very weak defense of why they're censoring President Trump. I thought it was a poor showing from those two. What did you guys make of it?
Well, I'll let you know that. First, I'll say this. Ben Sass has to go. I don't like Ben Sass. I think Ben Sass is an empty suit. He should just go and sit on the Democrat side, because clearly he does not like the president. I can't believe he is a conservative. Won't buy it at all. That being said, Josh Hawley, that guy has a career ahead of him. Not that he's not in his career right now, but he is on top of things. And as he said in his closing statements, when he was grilling, what's the guy's name? Twitter, Jack Dorsey. When he ended his statement, he's like, why are we even here? It was Jack Dorsey and Zuckerman. He's like, why are we even here? He said, we know what happened. If we're not going to do anything, why even have these hearings? And I agree with him 100%. Hats off to Lindsey Graham for having them. And yeah, Lindsey Graham talks a big talk. But if you don't put action behind it, I mean, the only thing these guys are doing is just laughing at you. I was looking at a Facebook guy. I mean, he knew the answer to a lot of the questions. And Josh was just like, I mean, he was drilling in, like, can you do this? Will you show us as well? I can't. Well, this, well, that. Okay. He goes, well, will you commit to providing us with the information once this is over? Well, I can't because I want to look at it. He has no intent of providing them with any documentation. Because as far as they're concerned, the election is over. We did what we needed to do. We're going to move on. And they're probably laughing. But when you start slapping fines or saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, we're going to break you up, or we're going to do this. Now, I don't want censorship, but these guys have gotten too big. And what the damage that they can bring is just, it's unimaginable. So something has to be done to these big tech barons as Josh Hawley be done.
Yeah, look, I think I can't agree more. I think we need to take them down. We literally need to either shut them down temporarily, have blackouts for them, and fine them. I've watched the testimony very closely. I'm a big fan of Josh Hawley. He was the attorney general in Missouri. I'm a big fan of Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was Solicitor General in Texas, went to Harvard Law School, argued many cases before the U.S. Supreme Court, is a tremendous litigator and tremendous at asking tough questions. But at the end of the day, I'm so frustrated. I watched this testimony, and it literally reminds me of like WWE wrestling. Somebody gets smashed over the head. We enjoy seeing Zuckerberg getting smashed over the head by Josh Hawley with this, aluminum chair.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zuckerberg just walks out of the ring and laughs as Facebook goes up $20 more, a share. And the same thing with Dorsey. So, they're expert now at playing the villain. I think they kind of like playing the villain. They're like, I don't know, I don't recall. So they're not going to say anything that's going to implicate them, and they're going to commit perjury because they're sworn in under penalty of perjury, right? So you could say, I don't recall. That's a fair answer. I don't remember. Keep saying that. I mean, you got to understand.
Yeah. I agree completely.
For companies that are owned by anybody else. I mean, they're publicly traded companies, but they're unicorns. They're billion-dollar companies that these guys founded in a garage many years ago. They know everything about every aspect of their company. Don't believe anything otherwise, okay? So I'm getting frustrated seeing Ted Cruz, beat up on Zuckerberg or Dorsey, and they walk out and they're laughing at Ted Cruz, with all due respect to Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, who I think are great. We need to take government action, literally, potentially shutting them down, taking away their protection from liability under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, right? Because they're not publishers. And that came up today. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, the New York Post story about Hunter, when Twitter wouldn't allow it and Facebook to be posted on their sites, they were acting as if they're a publisher. If Hunter Biden wanted to sue an entity for defamation, he would have sued the New York Post, because the New York Post published that article. Twitter and Facebook are exempt. They're not statutorily deemed publishers. Okay, so they use Section 230 as a sword and a shield. They're prevented from any kind of liability, right? They have immunity from liability in terms of defamation, and they also use it to censor. They use it as a sword and a shield from litigation, and a sword to puncture things with regard to censorship. They're only allowed really to censor for gratuitous violence and pornography and child pornography.
And
they're
they don't
not
do that.
allowed to censor for whatever rules they make up. They just make up stuff that constantly changes. It's very subjective, and that's the end of it. They're getting away with murder, and we need to go after them and stop them, and that's it. And testimony's great. It's exciting to watch, but they walk out and they just dust themselves off and they go about another day, and they're comfortable with playing a villain.
Yep, I agree. I mean, they are censoring for things. They're censoring right now. And when the question was put to them as to, I think it was Jack Dorsey, as to the censorship that he was doing, and how did they come to? No, it was Ted Cruz who was asking him about the New York Post article on Hunter Biden, and he said, "Well, I don't know. I think, and yeah, we realized we made a mistake, and then we reversed it." It's like, you reversed it. How many weeks did it take you to reverse that decision? And while you were reversing it, you were creating new rules. It's like, are you serious? And how many Democrats have you censored? Oh, well, I don't know, but I can. It's like none. We can tell you right now. As Josh Hawley said, I know more about Facebook than you do.
Yeah, and Ted Cruz did a masterful job
Absolutely.
proving that Jack Dorsey thinks that Twitter is a publisher.
Yep.
But they're not, and they're not a publisher. They don't have that ability to remove things from being posted on the site. That's what makes social media great. Is I could say something about someone else. I post it. If that person has an issue with me, they sue me, not Twitter or Facebook or any other platform. So if they consider themselves publishers, treat them as publishers and get rid of their immunity, and we could sue them.
But what needs to happen, I think, we need to have a class action lawsuit whereby someone is disparaged over one of these sites, and then they take it to the very end and say, nope, but you guys have censored other people. Why didn't you censor this? And just shake them and bring them down.
And we're running away. And I'm sorry. And I know people are on Parler, and I'm not criticizing people. I'm on Parler too. I've used it a couple of times, whatever. But we need to take the fight to Facebook and Twitter. We can't just give up and run to a new platform, because we're just letting them control us, right? This is like if we just give up on a selection.
Yep.
So I think we need to keep the fight. You want to be on Parler, fine, but don't give up on Twitter. Unless you get banned or whatever, get back on and keep the fight going. Because if we just move away to a different platform, we're letting them win. If that's and whether you realize it or not, we're letting them win.
Yep.
Yeah, well said. I think everyone that's in our chat room that has a Twitter account can probably attest to the censorship that we have to deal with on a daily basis. Speaking for myself personally, I had 82,000 followers like a week ago. I'm down 2,000 followers. I'm down to 80. Wow. And to make things worse, I haven't gained any followers in about a year, maybe 14 months. And in that time, I've been retweeted by President Trump twice.
Yep.
I've been retweeted by Mayor Giuliani.
Wow.
None of it makes a difference. I still don't gain any followers. So we see what the censorship does to us on a daily basis. And I'm sure everyone in the chat room deals with the same stuff. Did you guys see that ex-president Barack Obama has got a new book coming out called A Promised Land? I mean, I don't know who he thinks he is, Jesus or something, but his new book is called A Promised Land. And I've already seen some excerpts of him going after Sarah Palin, going after Donald Trump and the Trump family, of course. What do you guys think of Obama's constant need for attention and the kind of egomaniac this guy is?
Well, you hit it right there. He's an egomaniac. He needs attention. He thrives on attention. I did a piece about him just today on megamedia.org. You guys can go and check it out. But this guy is, attacking Sarah Palin. And the whole thing premises about his, while he's on his book tour, is racism and how people hated the fact that he was a black president. And that's the reason why they gave us Donald Trump. I'm like, dude, you were elected not once, but twice. Twice by a large margin of black voters and white voters. What is your beef? What is your beef other than the fact that you did absolutely nothing for the most part? And now you're trying to create this thing with, oh, they didn't like me because I was black. Please stop. Just stop.
Yeah, the guy is definitely obsessed with Trump and, can't stop talking about Trump. I think he's got some kind of Trump envy and can't believe that Trump has gotten elected and hopefully reelected. And, Obama can't believe it. I think Obama, unfortunately, was a terrible president. I think caused a lot of the social tensions that we're facing today are an extension of Obama. I thought he would heal this country. And unfortunately, I think he fanned the flames of a lot of the the tensions that we're experiencing today, and did nothing to heal, and was not interested in healing, and was more interested in acting as if he's the smartest guy in the room at all times. And I just think he loves attention, and I think him and his wife just love attention, and they're constantly in the press, and really has done a disservice to this country because he's criticized Trump so much. And I know a lot of people aren't big fans of George W. Bush. George W. Bush has never criticized Obama once.
Yeah.
Do you think he agrees with Obama? Give me a break. But out of respect for the fact that he was the next president, he wasn't going to criticize him because it wasn't his place. And out of respect for this country and the presidency, and most importantly, the family, Obama's children, they don't deserve to hear that about their father from the previous president. So that's tremendous respect, and that's a true statesman. Obama's been critical of Trump from the day Trump truly became president-elect, and he's only doing it for clicks. Here's a guy who became president of the United States, got elected at 47 years old, such an arrogant guy, loves the constant attention. If he's not in the press constantly, he just feels left out. And I think that if Biden should go on, God forbid, and be the president, you're going to see Obama all over the place. Why? Because Biden was Obama's vice president. So that's going to be, he's going to feel like, I was the president, I was the boss, and he worked for me. So now he's going to feel free to opine all the time. So another reason to hope that Trump pulls this out. Not only will we need to get rid of Biden and Harris, we need to shut Obama up. If Biden gets elected, you're never going to hear the end of Obama. I'm telling you, he's going to be all over the place, and he's going to be talking up Biden nonstop. And we're done. We're done. He's old news. We need new leadership in this country, right? From the Democrats. And what did Obama do that made this country better in his 8 years in office? Absolutely nothing. And again, was not a healer. I thought he could have done a lot to heal this country, and he hasn't, and he's not interested in it. He hasn't condemned any of the violence that has occurred in this country, that occurred in the summer, and is probably one of the most arrogant guys that you'd ever meet in your lifetime. And honestly, he's not that smart of a guy. Okay, like he speaks well because he just works on his speaking ability. And his intonation and all that stuff like that. Okay. I talk the way I talk because this is me. Okay. And I'm real. Okay. I'm not trying to pretend to be someone I'm not. He's not the guy that you think he is, the way he talks and pretends. Okay. So don't be fooled. Maybe we were fooled for 8 years. Don't continue to be fooled about this guy. It's a hype. He's got a great hype machine around him, surrounding him, making him, almost like this regal guy. It's complete nonsense. Okay. And I'll tell you why. If he was as good and as smart as he claims to be, or he thinks he is, he would have gotten more accomplished. Don't forget, he had a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate.
Right.
Hello. And he accomplished shit. So let's keep it real and let's be honest. Okay. This genius guy, editor of the Harvard Law Review, what did he accomplish? Nothing. What did Trump accomplish while being impeached, while having Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi after him? Much more.
Absolutely. A lot.
In 4 years, and hopefully we get another 4 years, than Obama did in 8. Look at the numbers and look at the economy and look at jobs. Obama was terrible. We had anemic economic numbers. We had so many people unemployed. Think back to your friends. Think back to you, what life was like from 2008 until 2015. Think about it. Think about how much things sucked in this country, right? We had lack patriotism. Our military was treated with disrespect, unfortunately, right? How could you not support the military? How could you not support the VA? And that's what Obama did and got away with it. Bowing to world leaders, literally bowing. Bowing. The president of the United States does not bow. It's not a sign of respect. That's a sign of weakness, my friends. Weakness and cowardice. And now a guy like Joe Biden is even weaker than Obama. Joe Biden is weaker than Jimmy Carter. He would be the weakest president in the history of this country. I'm telling you, this is fact. Jimmy Carter was a joke. Jimmy Carter was a naval officer and went to Annapolis. All right. So he served our country. But Biden's a complete joke. A complete joke. And I'm telling you, would be the weakest president in the history of this country. And Biden, Obama, I'm calling him, Biden. I'm combining Obama and Biden there. The weakest team. And we suffered from it. And that's why Trump got elected, because he needed to kick some ass, not because of anything that Obama's saying. Obama's just a failed president. And again, people won't be honest and call and say so much missed opportunity. The guy could have done so much, had so much momentum behind him. Don't forget when he got elected, what was his mantra? Hope and change.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to that? What happened to the hope and change?
Right.
Failed. Failure.
Yep.
So, he's just looking to sell books because he needs money and he wants to feel relevant. And it's not going to matter. At the end of the day, it's not going to change anything.
No.
Yeah, and let's not forget Barack Obama lost about 8 million votes from the first time he ran to the second time he ran. Donald Trump gained over 10 million votes from the first time he ran.
Yeah, and he beat
Romney.
Imagine if he had a real Republican, a true conservative running against him, he would have gotten smoked. He would have gotten destroyed.
Absolutely.
He lost to a rhino.
Absolutely.
That's why, he beat a rhino.
Yeah, that's it. He did.
That's it. I mean, that's why he won, right? He didn't have like a real strong candidate, and he was psyched about that. So his record, any strong conservative would have destroyed him, and but we're in this glorification, of the media. Anybody in the Democratic Party is glorified. I mean, I heard today Sally Yates might be the Attorney General of the United States.
What about Stacey Abrams?
I mean, you got to be kidding me. I mean, you got to be kidding me. These people are recycled from 2 or 3 administrations ago, and that's progressivism. That's new leadership with the same people. They can't find anybody else. There's nobody else on the bench that they could dust off and clean up. I mean, it's completely preposterous.
Yep.
It's all these like Chicago, like Richard Daley kind of acolytes and all, the old Democratic machine. They're back. They were hiding. They were afraid of Trump, and now they're coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well said, Manny. That about wraps it up for tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who listened. Please share the podcast. Check us out Thursday night. We will be on with Bob from Bob and Eric Save America on with Rampage every Saturday. And we'll also have Sean G back on Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 Central. So check us out Thursday night. We will be back with Bob and Sean. And then we'll be back Sunday. Manny will be joining us again Sunday. And hopefully we can get BB on and she can figure out the audio issues that she had tonight. Check out the website, magamedia.org. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us tonight. God bless you all, and we will see you Thursday night.
Thank you.